Before Rome ruled the Mediterranean, another power stood across the sea. It was older, richer, and feared by every kingdom that sailed west. Its name was Carthage. Built on the coast of North Africa, Carthage began as a colony of Phoenician traders, but it did not remain small for long. Its ships crossed from Africa to Sicily, Sardinia, Spain, and beyond. Its merchants knew every harbor. Its silver paid for armies. Its navy guarded the sea. For centuries, Carthage was not just a city. It was a world of trade, power, and ambition. While Rome was still fighting for control of Italy, Carthage was already looking across the Mediterranean like a queen looking over her empire. But the sea was not wide enough for both of them. Two rising powers wanted the same islands, the same trade routes, and the same future. And when Rome and Carthage finally collided, the ancient world changed forever. The war between them would last more than a century. It would create heroes, destroy armies, and turn one man into a nightmare Rome would never forget. His name was Hannibal Barca. But this story does not begin with Hannibal. It begins with a city that believed wealth could buy security, ships could command destiny, and walls could protect civilization from destruction. Carthage rose from the sea. Its harbors were the heart of its power. One harbor served merchant ships loaded with grain, metals, ivory, and purple cloth. The other was built for war. Code behind walls and water, hundreds of warships could be prepared in silence. This was the machine that made Carthage powerful. Not endless farms, not citizen soldiers, not a republic built on conquest. Carthage was different. It was a commercial empire, ruled by elites, defended by fleets, and supported by soldiers from many lands. Libyans, Numidians, Iberians, Gauls, and Greeks all fought under Carthaginian command. Carthage did not need to conquer like Rome. It needed to control the routes that made it rich. But Rome was changing. Rome had taken Italy. Now it wanted Sicily. And Sicily stood between Rome and Carthage, like a spark between two barrels of oil. In 264 BCE, the First Punic War began. It was a war Rome was not supposed to win. Carthage had the stronger navy. Rome had almost no experience at sea. But Rome learned with terrifying speed. It built fleets. It copied enemy ships. It turned sea battles into land battles by sending soldiers across boarding bridges. After more than 20 years of fighting, Carthage was exhausted. Rome took Sicily. Then Sardinia and Corsica. The defeat cut deep. But Carthage was not finished. Instead, one family looked west. The Barcids. Hamilcar Barca had fought Rome and hated what Carthage had lost. He crossed into Spain and began building a new power base. There, Carthage found silver, soldiers, and a second chance. Hamilcar's young son stood beside him. According to tradition, the boy was made to swear that he would never be a friend of Rome. That boy was Hannibal. When Hannibal became commander, he did not wait for Rome to choose the battlefield. He created one. In 218 BCE, he marched from Spain with an army, cavalry, and war elephants. His target was not Sicily. Not Sardinia. Not a Roman outpost. His target was Italy itself. To reach it, he would cross the Pyrenees, pass through hostile lands, and climb the Alps before winter. Rome expected war. But Rome did not expect this. The Alps nearly destroyed Hannibal's army. Men slipped from frozen paths. Animals panicked. Rocks fell. Snow buried the weak. But when Hannibal descended into Italy, Rome saw something impossible. A Carthaginian army had come over the mountains. The war had entered the Roman homeland. For years, Hannibal moved through Italy like a storm. At Trebia, he crushed a Roman army. At Lake Trasimene, he trapped another in mist and water. Then came Cannae. In 216 BCE, Rome sent one of the largest armies it had ever assembled. It wanted to end Hannibal. It walked into one of history's greatest traps. Hannibal placed his weaker infantry in the center and his strongest troops on the wings. As the Romans pushed forward, the Carthaginian line bent but did not break. Then the wings closed around them. Cavalry struck from behind. The Roman army was surrounded. The killing lasted for hours. Cannae was not just a defeat. It was a disaster so great that Rome seemed close to collapse. But Rome did not surrender. That was the difference. Hannibal could win battles. Rome could survive them. Allies began to doubt Rome. Some cities defected, but most of Italy held. Rome changed strategy. It avoided direct battle. It attacked Carthaginian positions elsewhere. It cut supply lines. It sent armies to Spain. And slowly, the trap began to tighten around Hannibal himself. Carthage had sent the greatest general of the age into Italy, but it could not fully support him. Roman pressure in Spain weakened Carthage's base that Roman armies learned from defeat. Then, a young Roman commander rose to power, Scipio. He understood that to defeat Hannibal, Rome had to strike where Carthage was vulnerable, not in Italy, in Africa. Scipio invaded North Africa. Carthage recalled Hannibal home. The man who had terrified Italy for more than a decade returned to defend his own city. In 202 BCE, near Zama, Hannibal and Scipio faced each other. The battle ended Carthage's dream. Rome won. Hannibal survived, but Carthage was broken. It lost its fleet. It paid a crushing indemnity. It could not wage war without Roman permission. The empire of merchants became a prisoner of peace. For decades, Carthage recovered through trade and discipline. Its fields grew rich again, its markets filled again. And that recovery frightened Rome more than its armies ever had. Some Romans believed Carthage must never be allowed to rise again. Cato the Elder is remembered for repeating one idea: Carthage must be destroyed. In 149 BCE, Rome found its reason. The Third Punic War began. But this was not a war between equals. This was the final siege of a city that had already lost its empire. Carthage resisted with desperate strength. Its people turned temples and houses into workshops. They made weapons from anything they could find. They gave up wealth, comfort, and safety to defend the city. The siege lasted 3 years. Street by street, Rome pushed inward. In 146 BCE, Carthage fell. The city that had ruled the Western Sea was burned. Its survivors were enslaved. Its power disappeared from history. Rome stood alone. The Mediterranean had become a Roman lake. But the memory of Carthage did not die, because Carthage had almost changed everything. If Hannibal had broken Rome after Cannae, there may have been no Roman Empire as we know it, no Caesar, no Augustus, no Roman Mediterranean, no empire stretching from Britain to Egypt. History turned on choices, storms, mountains, and one city's inability to support its greatest commander. Carthage was not destroyed because it was weak. It was destroyed because it stood in the path of Rome. And Rome did not forgive rivals. Carthage rose from trade, ruled the sea, challenged the future, and nearly defeated the power that would define the ancient world. In the end, Rome won the war. But Carthage gave history one of its greatest questions. What if Rome had lost?